The deadbolt slammed like a coffin nail at exactly 11:17 p.m. on my 75th birthday. That sound still echoes in my skull. My only son Jamal and his wife Keisha had just dragged me down the basement stairs of the house I bought with 40 years of double shifts and skipped meals. "You're staying down here tonight, Mama," Jamal said, his voice flat and cold. Keisha stood at the top, smirking. "It's for your own good. You've been so confused lately." The door locked, pitch black. The concrete floor bit into my bare feet like ice. I had nothing but the thin robe on my back. They left me there to freeze. No blanket. No light. No mercy. I huddled in the corner, teeth chattering, remembering every dollar I handed Jamal for his new beginnings. Every holiday I worked so he could have gifts. Every night I prayed he'd turn out better than his absent father. I raised that boy alone. I shielded him from the world. And now he and Keisha wanted me gone so they could collect the $1.2 million life insurance and sell my house for profit. This wasn't new. For 2 years they had starved me, slowly hidden my heart pills, whispered I was losing my mind. Keisha once stirred something extra into my tea that left me shaking and sick for days. Jamal just laughed and said it was old age. They were poisoning me in tiny doses, weakening me so when I finally stopped breathing, no one would ask questions. Tonight was meant to finish the job. Hours dragged. My fingers turned numb. Then a soft tap came on the tiny basement window. "Margaret, you still alive in there?" It was Miss Loretta, my neighbor of 15 years, the only soul who still knocked on my door. She had watched them haul me down and waited in the dark. "Help me, Loretta," I whispered through the crack. She worked the latch with steady hands. "Climb out slow, honey. I've got a warm blanket waiting." I squeezed through that window like a woman half my age, driven by pure will to live. We crept to her kitchen. She wrapped me in quilts, brewed strong tea, and sat me by the radiator. "Why would my own son do this to me?" she asked, eyes fierce. "They want my money more than my life," I answered. "And they almost got it tonight." Miss Loretta looked at me hard. "I've been watching them for months. There's something you need to hear. If your own children have ever counted your money while you were still breathing, comment left to die right now. Drop your city and the time you're listening. This story is about to turn much colder, and then it turns deadly hot. Stay with me." Miss Loretta's kitchen felt like heaven after that frozen basement. Steam curled from my mug as she played the first secret recording from her phone. Jamal's voice came through sharp. "If the old lady makes it another 6 months, the insurance doubles. We just need to make sure she doesn't." Keisha laughed low. "I already tried the stronger dose last month. She's tougher than she looks." My stomach nodded. That sickness that almost killed me wasn't chance. They had been slipping poison into my food and drinks for over a year, draining my strength so my death would look natural. All while forging checks, opening cards in my name, stealing every cent I had saved. I had given Jamal my entire life, and he used it to buy my grave. Loretta placed a gentle hand on my arm. "You don't deserve this, Margaret. No mother does." I stared at the table. I carried him for 9 months. I worked until my hands bled. I gave up my dreams so he could have his. And this is his thanks, turning his own mother into a paycheck. She nodded slow. "I lost my cousin to the same greedy family. They treat us like expired checks now. It's sickening." We talked deep into the night. I told her how Jamal used to call every Sunday promising visits, only to beg for cash. Keisha never hid her disgust. She rolled her eyes when I needed help carrying groceries. They cut me off from friends, told everyone I was crazy, so no one would believe my cries for help. The recordings grew darker. One night they stood in my living room arguing over how to split the house money once I was dead. Jamal said, "She raised me. Least she can do is die quiet." Rage replaced the ice in my chest. Not tears. Something sharper, deadlier. These were not my family anymore. They were strangers wearing familiar faces while plotting my murder for cash. Loretta poured more tea. "What do you want to do, Margaret?" "Real justice, the kind that hurts them the way they hurt you." I met her eyes. "I want them to feel every second of the cold they planned for me. No forgiveness, no escape." She smiled slow. "Then we do this quiet and clean. My way." That night changed me forever. The woman who once baked pies for the boy, who called me Mama, vanished. In her place stood someone who finally understood. Blood means nothing when greed runs thicker. Dawn broke while Loretta and I sat plotting at her table. The recordings still played low. I felt no grief anymore, only frozen clarity. They had stolen my warmth, my trust, my years, and now they wanted my last breath. I would give them the exact chill they craved. I have something they never knew about. I told Loretta. My late husband hid cash and gold coins, over 200,000, in a place only I know. I never touched it, even when Jamal begged. It was my last shield. Loretta's eyes sparked. "That's our weapon." "No, thanks. No traces. Just cash and silence." We planned with the precision only two women, who've been invisible their whole lives, can manage. Loretta had an old friend with a truck who owed her big. We would move my hidden stash tonight while they slept. Then tomorrow I'd call them with the softest voice I could fake. Tell them I'm ready to give up everything. I said, "Say I'm scared, alone, and just want peace." They'll rush over like vultures. Loretta wrote it down. We meet them in the basement, the same place they left me. Let them think they've won. Then we turn the tables. I rehearse the call in my mind. "Jamal, honey, it's Mama. I've been thinking. I don't want to fight anymore. Come over. Tonight. I'll give you everything. I just want my family back." The words burned my tongue, but they would swallow them whole. We talked about the betrayal that cut deepest. I carried him alone. I said, I stayed up nights when he was sick. I gave Keisha wedding money she never thanked me for. Now they joke about my death, like it's a lottery win. Loretta shook her head. Families see us as walking bank accounts now. It's cruel, and it's spreading. By evening, the trap was set. The basement door, reinforced from outside. Heat turned off. A single note, ready. My hidden stash, loaded into Loretta's car under cover of night. That night, I lay in her spare bed, warm for the first time in months, and felt real power. Not loud power, the quiet, lethal kind that comes when you stop begging for love from people who never gave it. Tomorrow my son would hear my voice and think he had won. He had no idea it was the last gentle word he'd ever hear from me. The phone call worked like clockwork. I kept my voice trembling and weak. "Jamal, it's Mama. I've been so cold and scared down here. I was wrong to fight you. Come over tonight. I'll give you everything. The house, the money, all of it. I just want this to end." He paused only a heartbeat. "You serious, Mama? No tricks. No tricks, son. I'm tired. Keisha can come. Too. We can fix this as a family." I heard Keisha whisper, "She's breaking. Go. Now." They arrived at 9 p.m., greedy smiles barely hidden I waited in the living room. Loretta stood silent in the kitchen. Doorway. Jamal hugged me stiffly. Glad you came to your senses. Mama. Keisha nodded. This is best for everyone. I led them downstairs. The papers are in the old desk. I lied. Let's talk down there where it's private. They followed without a second thought. The moment their feet hit the basement floor, Loretta moved fast behind them. I slammed the heavy door. The new lock clicked from the outside, the one we installed that afternoon. Jamal pounded the wood. Mama, what is this? I spoke through the door, voice steady and cold, as steel. You wanted me to die down here. Now you get to taste it. Keisha screamed. Open this door right now. I leaned closer. Remember the nights you starved me? The poison you slipped in my food? The nights I cried alone while you planned my funeral? I remember every single moment. Loretta stood beside me, arms folded. The storm's coming. They'll feel the cold soon. We walked upstairs without another word. I took the car keys from the hook, the car I paid for, and we loaded the last of my hidden cash. As we drove away, the first snowflakes fell. Jamal's voice faded behind us, still yelling my name like it mattered. It didn't anymore. That drive was the first time in years I breathed without terror. Loretta reached over and squeezed my hand. You did it, Margaret. You took their power and crushed it. We never looked back. The trap was flawless. No loose ends, no mercy, just the same silence they forced on me. We parked 2 blocks away and waited. Snow thickened fast. Through the cracked window, I still heard faint pounding from the basement. Jamal's voice cracked. Mama, please. It's freezing down here. Keisha joined, panic rising. We're sorry. We didn't mean it. I walked back alone. Loretta watched from the car. I opened the small basement vent just enough to speak clearly. Listen close, I said, tone flat and sharp as shattered ice. You spent 2 years draining me dry. You poisoned my meals. You told doctors I was crazy, so no one would believe me. You shoved me down here on my birthday like trash because you wanted my money more than my life. I raised you, Jamal. I loved you when no one else would. And you chose a payday over the woman who gave you everything. Jamal begged, Mama, we can fix this. Just let us out. No, I answered. You don't get to fix what you shattered. You get to feel it. Every hour, every shiver, every regret. This is the cold you planned for me. Savor it. Keisha sobbed. We're family. Family doesn't plot murder. I said, family doesn't laugh while you starve. You stopped being my family the moment you wish me dead. I dropped the note through the vent, the one Loretta and I wrote together. You wanted me gone for the money. Now, the money is gone, and so am I. The house is no longer yours. Feel every minute you stole from me. Then I closed the vent, turned off the last light, and walked away. Loretta was waiting. We drove through the storm to a small cabin I had quietly bought with cash months earlier. My true emergency plan. Warm, quiet, safe. No one knew the address. Behind us the storm roared. I pictured them, huddled in the dark, finally grasping what betrayal truly costs. No rescue, no fortune, just the consequences they created. That was the last time I ever spoke there. Names. 3 days later, the snow stopped. Loretta and I sat on the cabin porch, wrapped in thick blankets, sipping coffee that tasted like true freedom. The lake in front of us glittered under pale winter sun. I had never felt warmth like this, not just in my body, but in my spirit. We never heard from Jamal and Keisha again. After that night, word reached me later. They broke a window and crawled out. Half frozen, empty-handed. The house was already being cleared by distant cousins I quietly tipped off with one anonymous note. Everything they thought was theirs had vanished like smoke. They were left with nothing but the clothes on their backs and the echo of my voice locking that door forever. Loretta became the sister I never had. We planted roses in spring, cooked big meals together, laughed until tears came. Happy tears. She shared stories of her own hard years. I finally told mine, without shame. We were two women the world tried to discard, and we chose each other instead. Some nights, I still think about that basement. Not with guilt, with deep satisfaction. I didn't need anyone else's permission or system to deliver justice. I took it myself, clean and final. The same son who once made me feel worthless now knows exactly how small he truly is. I wake up every morning in a home that is completely mine. I eat when I want. I speak without fear. I walk outside without looking over my shoulder. I am no longer anyone's burden or backup plan. I am Margaret, whole, warm, and finally free. The greatest revenge wasn't the lock clicking shut. It was the life I built on the ashes of their cruelty. I didn't just survive them. I left them behind in the cold while I stepped into sunlight. They'll spend the rest of their lives wondering how a 75-year-old woman they tried to kill turned their greed into their prison. And I'll spend mine never thinking of them again. If you've ever had to walk away from the family that tried to bury you, leave a red heart in the comments right now. Tell me, what time is it where you are, and have you ever chosen yourself over toxic blood? Share this series with someone who needs to hear they are allowed to lock that door, walk away, and never look back. You are not alone. You are allowed to be warm. Again, you are allowed to win. This was my story. Now go live yours and make it beautiful.